Hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Episode 8, the episode The Elysian Kingdom. Interesting episode this week. It was kind of a little bit different to episodes we've seen previously. We've had episodes kind of like this before in Star Trek. But they've primarily been things like holodeck episodes from Next Generation, where we've got, Robin Hood and the Merry Men kind of holodeck simulation on Next Generation, or the Dixon Hill gangster type episodes and stuff on the holodeck from Next Generation. It's kind of along those lines, but a little bit different this time around for Strange New Worlds, in the fact that it kind of encompasses the entire episode. So today we're going to go through that episode and give you my sort of review and thoughts on this latest episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please don't be afraid to do so. Click on that big red button to stay up to date and current with all the latest Star Trek news on YouTube. I want to say this is probably my least favourite episode of Strange New Worlds this season. It was interesting, and I think it was quirky, and there were some interesting performances from our actors and crew and everything for this episode. But I think the problem I had with this fairy tale concept of this episode was the fact that it encompassed the entire episode. In the past, when we've got these kind of episodes before from Star Trek, where we've had, Worf going, "I am not a merry man," and they're all in Robin Hood gear, or we've got Dixon Hill stuff going on, or we've got on Voyager, we had Captain Proton stuff going on with Harry Kim and Tom Paris. They were interesting stories. It's good to have the occasional Captain Proton or holodeck program or whatever it is going on, but it doesn't normally encompass the entire episode. Normally, in these episodes, the way they're structured is there is an A story and a B story. And the holodeck story, or in this case, the fairy tale simulation that's going on board the Enterprise, is normally what you'd have as the B story. Something else would be going on, which would be your A story, and this fairy tale type scenario would be a secondary story. So it wouldn't be 100% of the episode. I think the main problem with this, is it wore a little bit thin. I think it would have been a very effective B story to another primary A story. I think if perhaps the simulation thing that was going on with Dr. Mbenga, maybe that was affecting half the crew. Maybe Mbenga was in that with Pike and Ortegas and I don't know, and Chapel, for example. And then we had the other half of the crew, who weren't in the simulation. They were stuck on board the ship trying to find a way out of the nebula or something like that. Split it in half. So we get one part of the episode, your typical Star Trek episode, the exploration, the crew investigating the weird goings on of the nebula they're caught in, and the other half of the crew caught in Mbenga's fantasy. I think that would have played out a lot better. I think it was a bit too quirky to maintain the focus for the entire episode. And I think this episode would have been served a lot better if we had an A story and a B story going on. That being said, I think it was good to see some of our characters in kind of quirky situations. For example, Pike as the sniveling kind of coward character, and Lan as the over-the-top, princess kind of character. I think our actors, you could tell they were having fun with this episode, and good on them for having fun with this episode. I think you kind of needed to have them just sort of throw their all into it, go all out. Doesn't matter how over the top you are. It's meant to be a kid's storybook, so all of the acting was really, really over the top and really pantomimey, which is the nature of this kind of kid story. And that was fun to see. It was fun to see Lan being over the top with a little, pet pooch or whatever, and Uhura doing the evil queen routine and everything. It was fun. It was good to see Spock in his wizard garb, I think, with the long hair and beard and everything. He kind of reminded me a lot of Elnor from Star Trek Picard. And it certainly seemed like the costume designers and the art department had an enormous amount of fun doing the very intricate costumes and putting all of the greenery and the vines and the tree life and everything throughout the hallways of the ship. It certainly did a really good job to bring us into that storybook environment. But the main purpose of the episode was to essentially wrap up the whole story angle on Mbenga's daughter Rukia. And I think as far as that goes, it was a good conclusion to her character. I think it always felt a bit weird and a bit wrong to me, the fact that Mbenga has got his daughter stuck in the transporter buffer. That kind of felt slightly bordering on abuse, where he kept pulling her in and out of the transporter buffer constantly. I think it probably would have been more humane to put her in stasis rather than do that. But I think in the context of this episode, I think it was good to see that angle resolved. The fact that she's, gone off to live in the nebula with the storybook aliens, and the fact that she sort of came back at the end there as an adult to say, hey, Dad, you've made the right choice. I've had a happy life. Everything's great. Now you can, go off and have a happy life yourself. So from that point of view, I think that was a nice conclusion to Rukia's character. And I think if they had have dragged on her being stuck in the transporter buffer for a long amount of time, I think that would start to be a bit weird if it was held on for many more episodes, I think. So I'm glad that they kind of wrapped that up quite effectively in this episode. I think it was great to see Hemmer back again in this episode. I think he was great. He's been absent from the show for a few weeks now, but it's great to have him back in this episode. We got a bit of humour from Hemmer, which was good. Good to see Hemmer humour. And he was kind of getting into the spirit of the storybook fairy tale as well, which was kind of cute. But, in his typical kind of gruff, sort of no-nonsense kind of way, which I think was entertaining. Also good to see the fact that they, in one of the scenes there, they did animate his antenna. Up until now, I think we've seen the Andorians on Strange New Worlds and on Discovery, for that matter, just have fixed antenna, unlike they used to do on Star Trek Enterprise, where the antenna were animatronic and they wiggled around and everything, and they would show emotion and expression. Good to see we saw a little bit of that in this episode. I think it sort of felt weird to me that his antenna never move at all when we had, seen, for example, the character of Shran on Star Trek Enterprise with movable antenna before. So I think that was kind of a nice addition. All in all, I think this was an okay episode. I would have liked to see a bit more of a back seat on this story, and for an A story to have taken pride of place in this episode, and for us to have the storybook stuff as a bit more of a B story. But so, in essence, I think this was an okay episode. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. Probably my least favourite episode of the season so far. But we've only got 2 episodes left now, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they round out the season. Guys, as always, please don't forget to leave a super thanks if you're able to. It really helps the channel out. Much appreciated. Like and comment. That also helps as well. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Check out my merch in the merch store, where you can pick up all my sci-fi, Star Trek t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, caps, stickers, you name it. It's all there. Help support the channel, much appreciated. And I'll catch you guys very soon for my next video. I'll see you soon.